was going to say,
Our famous.
and I was going to say the other part about it too is often by being on the email, Linda will send special things that we get from other groups that are not, that relate to the topic of what's happening in other places, which is pretty frightening too.
So
I'd like to get the graphics on Dr. Chin too, because I post it on my Facebook page.
Good idea.
That's a good idea. Why don't you send that to everybody?
Yeah.
I'll just send it. I'll send a big email to everybody on this, on the task force who attends the meetings, and then I'll get the stuff about the digital democracy and the graphic for Dr. Chen.
So, Linda, did you get, okay, for those of you who are not Larimer League members, our president of the board is Pat Berger, and Pat sent an email to all of the team leaders this afternoon talking about, I'm trying to bring it up because I was trying to find it.
It's that rumors report.
Yeah, rumors report and where you can get it, but I can't
Well,
find a link.
I think what you have to do, and they have a meeting every Monday at 1:30 our time. It's hosted by the Algorithmic Transparency Institute and the League of Women Voters US. And it's called Rumors Briefings or something like that. And you are supposed to get the rumors report if you're signed up for the rumors briefings, but I was there and I didn't get the report. So I'll attach that to the email too. So you're going to get a lot of information when I send out this email, and then I'll put a link to, or it comes out, the email to sign up for those things comes out in the thing that National sends out called updates or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll try to find a link for that too, in case you want to attend the meetings. They're pretty quick.
Let me know if you can't find it, because I save those.
Okay.
And I'll just look for the latest on
Yeah.
that.
And they're really good, so
Mhm.
I'll send those out. So, and I think what we've been focusing on leading up to the election is just mis and disinformation. So I've sent out a bunch of information to Karen Sheik, and she's going to send it out to local leagues. We have a how to spot bogus news, a little postcard thing, and I made it into a kind of a flyer you can hand out. I'll attach that too, because your local league may be able to use it to hand out at your voter service events or something like that.
Mhm.
So I'll do that too.
And I'm sure probably Suzanne and Iris may have seen things, but Linda's very good about putting items on the leagues, the League Colorado. There's always some kind of little flyer of information that may be where you saw about what we were doing.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think that's a good one to be aware of, because that again is one, if you can anyway, forward it to someone else, I think it's often valuable. I kind of use that to get people interested in the league.
Yeah, okay. That's a good idea. Hi, Diane.
Hi there. I'm sorry. We have been without internet for a week at our house, and I just now got it up and going, and it wouldn't unmute, and it wouldn't do video. And then suddenly it all popped on. So I'm happy to be here. Hello, everybody. And it has been a while, Linda, you're right. And I just want to thank you so sincerely for keeping me on your list. What has happened is the majority, or very many, of your meetings are at the same time that we've got either events or meetings. And it's just been so complicated. And that's why I haven't been here, because we've been involved in things that I really had to be a part of. But I am so appreciative to you keeping me on your mailing list. Thank you, thank you. Please keep me on it. I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to the meeting with Dr. Chen. And hello, everybody.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So we have some time. That's really all I have, unless I can think of something else I should send you. So I think we've got some time. You guys want to talk about anything special, Kathy?
I do, because my husband Jerry brought this up today. Okay. I think we have to become more aware of even famous fact checkers, because Jerry was reading a few things to me just now from the Washington Post that they were fact checking, they were absolutely ridiculous things. And the message that they put across could be misinterpreted. So I don't know if people are starting to look at that as well.
So can you give an example?
I'd love to,
you
except
kinda lost me.
yeah, he's not in there right now because he's the one who has it. Who was reading it? If I can
So
find
do you
it.
think that their fact checking was incorrect, or the way they relayed it was incorrect?
The way that they related it was
Okay.
incorrect. Okay. And it's almost like they're trying to get more readership by putting a spin on it that is not logical, that is not good. Yeah.
And this
And
was
this was the
Washington
Washington Post. So,
Wow,
yeah.
that's scary.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And there have been, like, I've subscribed to the New York Times as well. And some of the headlines are just incredible that they're starting to, and they're obviously writing these headlines in such a way to get, again, to stir up trouble and to get more readership instead of reporting facts. Because sometimes when you start reading the article, it's like, okay, why are you putting this title on it?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I heard one very similar today. We had our League of Women Voters of Cheesema today, and one of the women in the group was saying that there was a local paper, and I don't want to say who it is because I don't know which one, but anyway, but it wasn't the Post or wasn't the Sun, and she said that they were putting things out. She said, I was at the same meeting, and what they put out, I had trouble believing that we were at the same meeting. And so it's, I don't know, and she said it wasn't like it was all completely wrong, but maybe, as you're saying, Kathy, it was so slanted towards something to try to get people to be interested. She said, I don't.
Right. It would seem to me that some of these national papers, for years, people have trusted to have, good reporting in it. And all of a sudden they're starting to do, I think, more and more of this, to the point where I'm almost ready to say to the New York Times, forget it. I'm unsubscribing.
Wow.
Linda, I wonder if that's a question to ask for our speaker, just in the sense that, because you wonder, as Kathy said, it's kind of like I've always gone to these places for fact check and felt like they were or the people that wrote were very consistent in looking at what they produced. And I don't know what we, and maybe the other part of it is, what can we do, to check some of the things that we're getting that seem like the headlines are trying to sell another point of view.
Yeah. It seems like, I don't know if you've noticed with the Colorado Sun and now the Denver Post, with their articles, they have usually under the picture, it says the Trust Project. And it's like, I want to send that to the New York Times and say, hey, buddy, maybe you need to think about this for what you're doing.
What is the trust project? Kathy?
You were breaking up, so.
Oh, sorry. I was wondering what the trust project is.
We had, Erica Brulin was a speaker. I'd have to go back and listen to her. But she was a speaker for the Education Task Force for the League. And she's an education reporter for the Colorado Sun. And I had asked her about that. They said they were very proud to be part of that because of the integrity that it was that it put across to the readers. So, and if the Education Task Force meetings are in the league's YouTube channel. They're on the YouTube channel. And it was, I want to say June, because it could have been May or June that we had Erica speak.
What is the name of the group? And I'll look it up real fast.
What group?
Colorado Trust, what?
The Trust Project.
Trust Project. Yeah.
Okay, project. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it really goes back to, what are our trusted sources of news?
Right.
And I think that the public in general is not trusting most of what is out there anymore. It's sad.
Mhm.
But, when I think about journalism and schools of journalism, and it used to be very on point, who, what, where, when, why, just the facts. You don't editorialize, making it clear there's a distinction between news and editorials and features. So things have gotten so blurry. And as you were talking about, it's become, a revenue generating business. How many clicks can you get?
Right.
So this just kind of fits into what I have discovered, which is that the Gannett chain of newspapers was actually purchased by a hedge fund and owned by another hedge fund and on until there are several hundred of our US newspapers that are actually owned by a foreign government, the government of Abu Dhabi, according to everything that I can find out. And it does fit right in with the fact that the Gannett chain is still called Gannett, and people don't realize that because the name is the same, but the ownership has changed and the standards have changed. And for example, here in Pueblo, our 128-year-old family-owned newspaper that generated everything in our community with really solid journalists, 138 people working there. After it was sold to a hedge fund in 2018, right now we have 3 reporters for our city. We don't have anybody watching the government, the city hall, any of that. And so what happens is when the hedge fund gets a hold of the newspaper, they suck the guts out of it and take the staff to where they really cannot do their job, even if they are trained journalists and trying to do the job. So that's my 2 cents, and that's kind of where my brain is, and what I'm trying to figure out is how to cope with this, really.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I don't mean to drop that bombshell right in the middle of our meeting, but it does kind of explain why the journalism standards have changed. It's not just our imagination, I don't think. And I'd be happy to send you the handout if I could get it to you somehow, that we used in the presentation, that kind of gives a little more background as to what I'm talking about. I don't want to take up all of our time on.
And again, I think you're right that people tend to think that because it's Gannett, that kind of thing. And in Florida, where I am, Florida, USA Today, of course, was a Gannett. And then
Yes.
they've gone all over the country. And so where I live in Florida, we have Florida Today.
Mhm.
And it really, it is a local paper, but I do see every year one or two less local people. And it was sort of like the original group, because we've been there now over 15 years.
Mhm.
You know, we see someone, we're losing someone, and we kind of lose any ability to kind of follow up on stuff. You know,
Exactly.
local things are really not being watched.
Exactly.
I think it would be interesting. I have for years liked the Fontas media bias chart to go to, and it would be interesting. The one that came yesterday was just like so packed with different publications that they're looking at.
They have a new one?
It just came out. I just got it yesterday.
Oh, I have an older one. I'll get one for you.
Okay, it's what is it? It's 12 point something, and that's sorry about that. And it would be interesting to look at one of the older ones and kind of spread everything out on this new one to see if there are differences as to where they're
Yes.
rating some of these outlets. You know,
Right.
see if there's a change on what they're finding
Right.
in their analyses.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll send everybody a link to that too, in case you don't have it, so you can have the, what did they call it? The legacy version or something when it came out
I
yesterday.
don't know. I have the premier version, so I think that's what it is.
Okay, and that's my email in the chat. If you wanted to send me your handout, Iris, and I can let everybody, I can attach it if you want to share it.
Sure. I'm not sure how to do it in the chat, but if you want to, do I have your email?
It's in
Linda?
the chat, so if you just see L Hutchinson.
Oh, here it is. I do. I got it. I have it. Got it.
Okay, so you can send that.
While
to me.
you're looking at that, I'll just read the Trust Project, because I just looked it up on my phone.
Oh,
It says
good.
the Trust Project is an international consortium of news organizations building standards of transparencies and working with technological platforms to affirm and amplify journalism's commitment to transparency, accuracy, inclusion, and fairness so that the public can make informed new choices. It was founded and is led by award-leading journalist Sally Lehman, Lehman. And it says, our founder is Craig Newmark. Craig is the founder of Craigslist, just so y'all know, was
Oh.
our original founder through the Trustworthy Journalism Initiative of Craig Netmark's philanthropics, plural. Anyway, Google follows with their financial support. Our funders also have included Democracy Fund, the John S. and James S. Knight Foundation,
Nice.
Facebook funders, and Trust Project policies and the trust indicators are shaped and influenced independently from our funding sources. Anyway, and that is at network. Let me just put it in the chat. The name, so you can find, if you want more information about them, I'll do that. Okay.
What was the name of the person that you said had started it?
That is, it's Craig Newmark, Newmark, the founder of Craigslist.
Okay, there was another name you used.
Okay.
It was Sally
Oh, I know. It was founded and led by award-winning Sally, and the last name is Lehman. No, let me see this. Lehrman.
Okay.
And I don't know who that is. Do those of you in journalism know?
Yeah, she's a familiar name. Craig Newmark is long retired from Craigslist and he's super wealthy, and journalism is his passion, his pet project. So he gives to a lot of journalism schools. He has his own journalism school with his name on it, and yeah, he's a guy for funds. But now we have this Press Forward, just so you all know that Press Forward has really got going, and especially in Colorado, where Melissa Davis, who was in charge of the Colorado Media Project, has been chosen by them to be their head of funding. She's like gathering all of these foundations to convince them to spend money on journalism, and then she helps oversee which projects and what to do. And that's a big pool of money from new groups that hadn't been to journalism before. So there's a lot of money for projects that, I'm standing in line. Open.
Why not?
Yeah. It's something that's kind of related to this conversation. I think it's important, since we're here for news access and literacy, to understand that for the Observer Corps, a premise that I have in working with the observers is that we archive the reports for ourselves, and journalists are certainly allowed to look as, any citizen, voter, whoever could look, but we are doing the reports in our format and keeping them archived on Substack and another website that we have for the purpose of it. And we share out the news through League. But there is some discussion about who trains these people and how we make a connection that helps journalism, how we have a relationship with newspapers. And state is really just barely beginning to roll out their project on this. And I have a sense that there is a conflict in that agenda, that Beth would like to see newspapers be like assigned a person, an observer, who would go to the meetings that they would give them, and then the newspaper would take the reports. And I'm like, well, Alden Capital owns a lot of the titles that are under Colorado Press Association, and we don't want to be like just providing volunteer effort for hedge funds. So I'm trying to hold a line there, and hopefully Beth understands, though she hasn't consulted with any of this on the topic. I can only assume because she's barely getting it off the ground, but I'm going to make that point. And I just wanted you all to know this. It's like, we make this information for the voters, not to be helping the economics of a flailing news outlet. We can't do that because we can't know who our friends are anymore. I mean, as we discussed, like New York Times, wait, what? Would we, if we have volunteer help to give, it should be for League's purpose. And then we share that, and we're sharing it through public media. And I'm composing something to the library district that they could share, but there's a lot of sources that are more appropriate for League than us just like partnering up directly with news outlets that, our local newspapers are owned by Gannett and Alden Capital, and we can't be choosers in that arena. It's too difficult. I don't think they have time to train us and deal with us anyhow. I think we'd just be noise. So, but until that comes down the pike, that's the way I'm seeing things, that it's a stream of information that we have to share. And hopefully, some news outlets would post a link to it, or would have their reporters go to double check a thing and use this as a resource, but not as free help.
Okay, so Kathy's leaving. That means I've got 8 minutes because I have to leave too. So is there anything else you guys want to?
Once you finish the recording part of this, I would like to say something, but not till it's over.
Okay.
So finish whatever else we need to do tonight, and then I will go.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say? Want to bring anything up, Diana?
I'm unmuted. I'm sorry about my clock. I'd forgotten. Listen, it kind of in line with what Iris was talking about. I'd like us to do more in Colorado about which papers are actually owned by these the hedge funds, really, because they're going in and like Prairie Mountain Media, also known as whatever they are. I believe what they've done in some places, well, they're doing that. They're going in and selling the printing press and, and selling the assets and then, and printing everything in Denver. So we have, it's not news, it's yesterday's news that we already heard somewhere else. And I'd like us to see us look at the whole state. I didn't know about Pueblo, but I do know, I think the Ballantines still have their place down in southwestern Colorado with the Durango Herald and some papers there, but they've gone weekly on like the Cortez and Mancos and Dolores papers. I'd like to see us do more of that because I think that's really a threat on our back doorstep. They go in and then you have one company controlling these. They're going to control the news eventually if we don't let people know what's happening.
Well, and particularly if it is a foreign entity.
Yes.
There's nothing more exciting to a foreign entity that is not a friend of ours than to create chaos in our thinking at an election time. Get people confused and get them angry with one another and so on. And I think it's very scary. You will be very intrigued with Iris's paper. I mean, she's got some very stunning, frightening information in there. I think you do, Iris.
Thank you. I hope I'm looking for help to verify it, but as far as I can tell, I think it's accurate.
But you have not been able to actually interest anybody of stature yet, have you?
The League of Women Voters is my is my stature. No, we have sent some letters. We revised Helen and I revised our pitch letter, so to speak, a bit. And I could send you that too. I could send two more things. I could send a link to a very nice interview that Katie Couric did with Anne Sullivan, who is the person who wrote one of the first books on ghosting the news about the decline of our newspapers. It's a few years old now, but I could send that link. And I could also send this updated letter that we're sending to whomever we think might be willing to read it, politicians primarily. So I could send that to you, Linda, also. We could send it all out together if you're willing to do that.
Okay, that'd be great. And I can send that, I'll forward that to everybody.
And I
So-
missed your earlier comment. What are you looking for to try to find some help for?
I just want to get the word out, and I would love, and as I'm saying in this new letter, I need some expert help in verifying whether or not this information is accurate, and if it is, to assess the risks and mitigate take appropriate steps to minimize those risks.
There are some people at the University of Denver that are doing a lot in their communications department, and there may be someone there that might be able. Anyway, let me make sure I have your email address and see if I can send you some names.
Okay, and
Because I'm thinking if there were students who were doing work,
we have sent to Loyola University, which is where my friend graduated from the law school there. We've sent that. I have it in my mind to visit our CSU Pueblo, which I have not done yet. This is all new. This has all just happened recently in the last few months. So anyway, you have your agenda and you have solid work, and this has been really helpful for me to get a feel for what you're doing and how it's working. I do think that the idea about finding out the ownership of newspapers across the state is a really good idea, and that's a project that I could see myself putting some effort into getting.
Well, let's put that on the agenda for after the public meeting in September. When we come back in October, we'll do that.
So,
Okay.
So I'll add that. And if we don't have anything else, I'll turn the recording off so Kay can say.
It's just a meeting. It's just a future meeting and I don't want to, it's not to do with the league and I don't want it to look like, and so I'm not hiding anything. This isn't behind the scenes.
Okay, well, if you feel better, I think you could tell us about it. But if you feel better that I turn the recording off, I will.
I think it'd be better to turn the recording off.
Gee,
All
Kay,
right.
I thought you were gonna really dish on something for us. Let's look.